Poverty, a stagnant economy and even crime, but these are not top of the agenda for Ugandan lawmakers. Instead, the country has signed into law a host of punishments for homosexuality, including the death sentence. Now, this despite opposition from around the world. But to unpack this, I'm now joined once again by Ugandan journalist, that's Samson Ntale. Samson, thanks for your patience, and hopefully the connection will be on our side this time around. But my initial question was around context regarding this law. What exactly does it entail, and what are those consequences for Ugandans found to be homosexual?
Well, the law it came into law yesterday when after President Museveni assented to it, that was even the second time he had brought it back to Parliament. One of the harshest punishments that was found guilty, you go for death. But as of now, the latest is that a number of people, rights defenders, have already gone to court to petition the Constitutional Court to quash it. That was filed as of yesterday. When it comes to much of the punishments, social responsibilities, imagine now somebody found by, say, the law enforcers in a restaurant and is suspected to be gay by the law enforcers. It will mean that you, the restaurant owner, you will have to go in jail for 7 years for hosting gay people. So these are some of the issues that have sent other rights defenders to go petition the Constitutional Court seeking it to be quashed for the second time.
Right. Before, I suppose, we get into, outside criticism, such as from the Western world, what do human rights activists in Uganda have to say about this? I'm sure they've already lamented their concerns around this law.
Yes. They find the law to be very discriminatory. They found the law on the health side of it, that now, because also if at all somebody who is gay, who is homosexual, who is queer, went into a hospital to seek for treatment, he won't be attended to, because now the responsibilities with the hospital to hand him over to the law enforcers, because there's that particular bit of the law that you have the responsibility to report to police anybody suspected to be gay within your community, wherever you are. Just like it is, it may be in a bar, a restaurant, or even aboard a public means, public transport.
Samson, when it comes to Ugandans themselves, if I may, when it comes to Ugandans themselves, I mean, what are the sentiments? Because I can imagine this might instill fear, especially if you're mentioning that there's also a responsibility to report someone else. I mean, this could be a friend, it could be a colleague, it could be a family member, it could be someone you see in a public space. What's the sentiment then amongst Ugandans? Also, I suppose, won't this then, run the risk of some going exile, fleeing the country for their own safety?
Yeah. The society itself has largely is opposed to anything to do with homosexuality, and traditionally it has always been a case here. But there are laws that have been there now, like the penal code is sufficient enough to punish anybody found into that. But now the extremes in it, in society, will be that now some people might take it up as a malicious act against others.
I want to also touch on, what the United States President Joe Biden had called this. He called it a tragic violation of human rights, and even went as far as saying that Washington would evaluate the implications of the law on all aspects of the U.S. engagements with Uganda. What does this mean then for the risk regarding sanctions, risks regarding, aid donors? Most, I understand, are also from, Western countries, and where they might stand, or, how they may perceive this law, the implications.
In the build-up of making this law in the past weeks, everybody in government, everybody even in the social fiber, like say the religious leaders, were largely in support of let the law come into force. And they were all chest thumping that we don't care about your aid, telling the Western world generally. Now, one thing, what remains that US and the EU are so much involved in supporting Uganda in various military activities, especially in Somalia. And they continue to do that. I doubt whether this will be anything to withdraw any kind of aid regarding that sector. Again, when it comes to the HIV/AIDS, there's the PEPFAR fund, which is American funded largely. It's one of the areas that they've been highlighting that those HIV positive who seek treatment, they should get their treatment, whether they are gay or not. But now they are saying that this is again where the human rights defenders are coming in to patch holes into the law, that such areas are discriminatory. Now, so regarding that aid and the other activities, it will be largely into other areas, but I don't see militarily where there's military interventions now, like Central African Republic, here in neighboring Congo, down in the Somalia, whether they will withdraw that kind of aid. I don't see it immediately because they are using Ugandan army to stabilize those areas which are of their interest.
Yeah. Samson, have you also heard from religious voices? Surely they had an input in terms of raising their voices regarding this law?
Yes, actually yesterday the head of the Anglican Church here in Uganda, which is the largest faith group here, issued a statement indicating that they supporting the president for signing the law, and also encouraging the government that don't get intimidated with the Western world because of their aid. And this is a Ugandan church with the other African churches recently that broke away from the Canterbury, is it, with the UK, where there was bishops were getting into those illegal marriages. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you speaking to us about this, Samson. Unfortunately, that's all the time we had with you, but thank you so much for adding your voice to this conversation. Samson Ntale, Ugandan journalist, talking to us more about the Ugandan law that's been passed, an anti-gay law with the harshest sentence that could result in imprisonment or even the death penalty.